normally, when there's a bull market on, we outperform. We outperform in a bull market. We were underperforming badly, and our clients relied on us to outperform in a bull market, even if we had more downside in a bear market. So it was very painful. And today we see, now our portfolios are acting much better today than they did back then, but today we see oil prices, again, market manipulated because the demand destruction is getting pretty severe. China, Europe, even U.S., we're starting to see faltering demand on the oil front, and yet the oil price is still going up, causing a lot of pain. Many people, many firms will be approved for a Bitcoin ETF, and when that happens, that will bring with it an institutional acceptance that really could highlight the scarcity value of Bitcoin. And institutions are not the only story. Thank you for reading our Big Ideas 2023, and in there you see our building blocks to a $600,000 to $650,000 price, and perhaps $1 to $1.5 million price by 2030. We think most people in the world, at the very least, should have some of their assets in Bitcoin as an insurance policy against confiscation of wealth. And that can happen in a number of ways. It can happen outright. So to see MBS in Saudi Arabia lock his cousins up in the Ritz Hotel and just take their wealth, that's confiscation. That's outright confiscation. And then, of course, there's inflation, which is also confiscation of wealth. It's a cruel tax. It's very regressive. And Bitcoin would be an important hedge against that for anyone, but especially for lower income people.
The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has made a pivotal decision regarding the Grayscale case. On October 13, the SEC announced it would not challenge the court ruling permitting Grayscale to transform its GBTC product into a spot Bitcoin ETF. This development comes after the District of Columbia Court of Appeals ruled against the SEC's prior rejection of Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin ETF. The SEC's decision not to appeal sets the stage for revisiting Grayscale's application. Discussions between Grayscale and the SEC are scheduled to begin shortly, with a new SEC response expected in the next 2 weeks. It's considered unlikely that the SEC will appeal this decision further, making it a significant step forward for Grayscale's spot Bitcoin ETF ambitions. This move not only has implications for Grayscale, but also for other players in the market who have applied to launch spot Bitcoin ETFs, including BlackRock, Valkyrie, WisdomTree, ARK Invest, and more. This development sets the stage for potentially groundbreaking changes in the cryptocurrency industry, as ETFs have long been sought after by investors and the crypto industry alike. According to Bloomberg analysts Eric Balchunas and James Seifert, the likelihood of a spot Bitcoin ETF receiving approval by January 2024 stands at an estimated 90%. This prediction is based on recent amendments to the spot Bitcoin ETF prospectus submitted by ARK Invest and 21 shares. These changes suggest constructive interactions with the SEC, a common precursor to regulatory clearance. Balchunas and Seifert further stated that they believe there's a 90% chance of approval by ARK's deadline on January 10. The ongoing dialogue between the SEC and fund sponsors is a standard practice for new launches, but represents a significant development for spot Bitcoin ETF applications, indicating the SEC's efforts to facilitate ARK's proposal. However, it's worth noting that Grayscale has advocated for the approval of all ETFs simultaneously, which could reshape the entire ETF landscape. While the journey towards approval for spot Bitcoin ETFs is far from over, these developments signal significant progress, and investors are closely watching for further updates. Let's continue our discussion with Cathie Wood.
Well, first of all, we give our research away, and I can tell you some of the most rewarding moments of my career and life, I would say, is when someone comes up to me and my colleagues and says, "Thank you for educating us about this. We put our money in," and I would say the two top ones on this are Bitcoin and Tesla. We put our money in. We keep reading your research. We believe your research is correct. We're not going to sell. And our nest egg has grown. Or in some case, I was able to buy my house. Or in another case, I was able to educate my children. I mean, wow. That's pretty humbling. So that's a lot of the reward. But I think I also, I think I love educating not just investors, but everyone, especially young people who, who can take this kind of volatility and stick with it, keep their eye on the prize, and think about an incredible retirement if they make the right investment decisions. The young people today are much more savings minded than my generation was. And in fact, in my generation, it was the beginning of mutual funds. That's how far back I go. And I remember how difficult it was to get people, especially young people, to think about investing their money in equities for sure, because they had been under such duress for so long. But we knew, now that we were getting more disciplined monetary policy, that equities and fixed income were going to be good places. But consumers back then and investors back then were very scared. Very different today, and so they express a lot of gratitude for our research, and they have inspired us also to not only, of course, put an application in there for the Bitcoin ETF and other ETFs, but also to start a venture fund and get in even earlier. We started that; it's fledgling, but it's doing well. We've already had some liquidity events, which is hopefully not beginner's luck, but we're on our way. So I think the education, being able to educate, open people's eyes to this new world, these new opportunities, help them get on the right side of change so that their lives can be better, whether financially or emotionally or any which wise, from being on the right side of change and having the confidence based on education, that they are on the right side of change.
Well, Bitcoin and financial education in general is so key. I wish I had learned some of the things that Bitcoin taught me younger so that I could protect myself for the future and have a lower time preference and all of that. But so many people are learning about it right now through Bitcoin. So let's dig into some of those things, because you see Bitcoin as transformative. It is still so early. A lot of people, they don't really understand that you could buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. They see it as too expensive. How do you educate folks that are just starting out? I mean, when people come in, especially during a time that's a bear market after a bunch of crypto implosions, and they see it as so risky or inherently, there's risk because it's digital and it could be hacked. And those are those initial skepticisms. How do you start to break down those barriers and explain what Bitcoin's value proposition is to the average person?
Well, I first describe what it is, and I ask them to listen very carefully to each of the words that I'm saying. It is the first global, private, meaning no government intervention, rules-based, if I didn't say digital, I should say it now, digital monetary system that the world has ever known. It is a very big idea. And in fact, what I often do is describe what Art Laffer said to me after he finished reading the paper. And, he basically said, I think I might have mentioned it, I've been waiting for this since they closed the gold window. Monetary policy has been completely unhinged. There's no discipline. We're going through booms and busts that are completely unnecessary.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.